happened in Hertfordshire where hurricanes hardly ever happen. It's actually quite chilly today, especially in that wind. Try. Well, here we are and here we are. I'm stuck in Middle England, grounded. In a whatsoever state I find myself, therewith to be content. Well, I've always said this. I've just met a lovely old gentleman, actually. He's in a great big estate Mercedes. The gate, back door, opened up, and I thought, there must be someone attached to that. And he's 84, I'm 64. He's got a knackered leg as well. That, he looks so well, actually, at 84. Anyway, when I came off my horse, broke my leg, left leg in midsummer, June the 1st, I think, actually, 1993. Christopher Reeve did it too, Flame of Horse, I mean. He was the actor, Superman, and he ended up breaking his neck, and then he was in an iron lung, and he's, of course, died by now. Well, I'm alive then, so all I've lost is progressively my mobility. But I'm still here, for good or ill. I really just don't understand. I mean, here I am in this very sort of well-off, well-heeled in general place, Harpenden. They say the house prices around here are double the national average or whatever. But people are just people, right? Actually, this lovely old gentleman he said, I'm a Christian. So I said, yes, well, so we can both agree then that God's promise to us is that if we live our lives as the best we can as Christians, then God promises us eternal life. Now, anyone can understand what I've said. Believing it clearly is something that many people have a great difficulty with. They won't make the first step. Journey of 1,000 miles starts with first step. Confucius said, a journey of 1,000 I start with a first step. I think any Chinaman hearing me would be perfectly justified in poking me in the eye with a sharp stick, quite frankly, but there we go. I've got quite a good, very Indian one. Oh dear, journey of 1,000 miles be starting with, oh dear, goodness gracious me. Oh, first step must be making, oh yes, please, make a very first nice small step. Oh yes, lovely. Oh dear. Dim park here? That's the Welsh one, but I slipped off that actually. Anyway, it's called being a holy fool, I suppose, to some extent. The peeps don't get it, clearly. The time to turn to God is when you're up and big and strong and settled and financially secure and all the rest of it. Not when suffering comes. Okay, suffering comes, and yes, one could argue very straightforwardly that suffering is an instrument of God's work to demonstrate to people who's the boss, if you like, and to recognize him, turn to him and pray. I mean, especially if your children are sick, that is a classic situation, or in trouble of some description, then it touches people's hearts. Oh, and where is this God person to help us? Curiously, I tuned into this EWTN channel, Eternal World Television Network. It was started by a little old nun sister in the convent grounds in a shed, really, I think, back in about 1961. Just can't think of her name at the moment, but it's now got millions of viewers. I think it's the most watched Christian, Roman Catholic, actually, not necessarily Christian then. Anyway, we won't go into that. And they were talking about this chap, Padre Pio, who's very well known amongst Roman Catholic circles, certainly. I believe he had the stigmata, so the wounds of Christ. And very much venerated. And then this little boy was healed. So it's a complete miracle. The doctors totally cannot explain it. They had the parents there, and then the child, who then grew up to be a man, and etc., etc. It was in a hospital in Italy, northern Italy, I think. And the mother spoke at length about how sick her child was, and then father spoke too, and he was saying that he'd been a sort of Roman Catholic, but not at all practicing, and then all this happened, and he just had to accept that a miracle had happened, quite frankly, because his child was given 0 chance of living, 100% death rate of what he had, and yet he still lived. So there we are. How do you do? You're not lost, are you?
Pardon?
You're not lost?
No, I'm just hobbling.
I hobble. I'm on crutches. I make films, you see.
Oh, do you?
I do, yes.
Oh, what for?
God.
God?
Yes. I talk to the world through this machine.
Do you?
I do.
I was just thinking, actually, you look rather like God on an iPhone. Which is a compliment, apart from the fact you probably...
Is he meant to be in a big fluffy white cloud with an old grey beard? Is that God? Yes. Well, possibly. I mean, I was physics at school, and yeah, the universe is what it is, and huge and massive, and we're just one little pimple. But we are the pinnacle of his creation. I just try to be a better Christian. Yes. I once said, I'm a good Christian when I was young, and this chap was a Russian, as it happens, but pointed out to me that's not right, and he's absolutely right. One can only try each day, take up your cross and follow me each day, to be a better Christian. I'm assuming you are?
Yes, I am.
Just
at the moment I'm in great pain, and I'm just going to get prescription because
what's happened?
I've damaged my disc in my back, and I've never known pain like it.
I know. I worked in orthopedics,
it's
actually.
Worse. I've had 3 children, and I would say it's worse than labour.
The childbirth, really? Because that, well, are you sleeping at night?
No.
Your face doesn't actually look too strong. I trained as a medic, so what sort of painkillers are on?
They've given me, well, I'm waiting for an MRI at the moment. I've been to the LCA 5 times, and he said he doesn't want to treat me anymore until I've had an MRI, because he doesn't want to sort of cause any more pain to travel to the spine. But they've given me...
I mean, my mother's sister had, I'm afraid I've been in theatre, and it's sort of hammer and chisel job, chipping bits out, and they mustn't, well, it's worth, get your head round it, and then hope you get a good surgeon, and it all works well. But if they nip a nerve, then you're in
trouble.
Real trouble.
Anyway, may I take your photograph?
Yes, well, we can have a mutual. You've got one. We're at Snap on cameras. Do you know how much did yours cost?
Well, I got it. I didn't.
Don't. You're going to make me upset now.
I'm not.
Mine was £1,350.
Yeah, they are. But the thing is, you see, I
But
get mine
Pro.
within my contract, but you pay for it over that period. I mean, people, you know, people are under the illusion.
But these cameras on here
yeah.
are, I mean, in good light, the quality, the pixels in there are just.
Oh, I know.
What's your work normally?
What's the work? The work in finance.
Can you do things to take your mind off the pain?
Yeah, that's about the only thing that's doing it, to be honest.
I met a chap, he was dying of cancer, brain, with 3 lovely children, and he had taught himself not to take painkillers in really acute, severe pain, and he just somehow had trained himself to tell it to go away. I mean, just an ordinary English bloke. I mean, not a sort of.
I don't mind on Fridays because I look after my father on Fridays.
That possibly helps, actually. Takes you out of yourself, doesn't
But
it?
I couldn't literally go today because I just thought I won't make the drive, and that's the only thing I couldn't do the drive today. So I said I won't come out. Actually, I just texted him because he said. We did actually have a laugh because he's 90 and he said, you know, he's got his little life.
I haven't been out since Saturday. I got out last Saturday and then I've been stuck in the house. I've got this leg.
And I sent him a text just about 10 minutes ago and I said, I'm just going to Boots to pick up my prescription. Is there anything I can get you? And he came back with, yes, a new body, please.
Do you know, go on, ask me, is there anything more I need? And they asked me in the shop, you see.
Oh, do they?
Yes. Well, I asked them to hand me some. I'm in the trolley thing, you know, because of my leg in Sainsbury's. So ask me the question.
Is there anything else you need?
Yes, the love of a good woman. Not for sale, but you end up paying for the rest of your life, but in a nice way.
Yeah.
Quite. I was married and so on, so there we are.
No, my husband passed away.
How old was he?
He was 51.
From?
Cancer.
Yeah. Of which?
They couldn't identify its source, so they on the death certificate they put cancer cirrhosis because it was everywhere.
How long ago was this?
In 2003.
You still grieving?
Not so really. I tend to have. I was just sad at certain things.
Yes.
When with the family, with the children, and
yes.
I think he's missed that. And you know, like this year was our first grandchild arrived, and you know that. And that was.
Are you a grandmother?
I am a grandmother.
But you look so young.
No, thank you.
I say all the right things.
That's really what get you everywhere.
No, not at all. Apart from the hobble, you look, you know, very well actually.
Okay, well, I better get on my
Thanks for stopping.
But thank you. It's lovely chatting to you. Really
And
was.
you.
It was a pleasure. Nice to meet you. My name's
Francis. We're probably not, but I've done mine a really good, proper wash in Sainsbury's on the, you know, the alcohol.
Yes,
drip.
sorry, I shouldn't have done that.
No. Well, mine are.
Do you want a bit of jar?
No, not at all.
I'm safe.
Yes, quite.
Lovely to meet you.
You too.
Take care.
Catch you later.